Oh, let's see. Eating dinner. uh, Going on trips, having cousins visiting our cousins who are about our age. My brothers, actually mine. Oh goodness. I guess Tom Cunningham. I would call Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom.
He was my agriculture, my FFA teacher, Future Farmers of America. He was my kind of my mentor. So he was a very active in the Masonic Lodge. So when I became 21 years of age and eligible to become a member of the Masonic Lodge, I joined the Masons.
When you say Uncle Tom, was he really your uncle?
He was called that at school.
Oh.
No, that was his nickname.
Oh.
Thomas Cunningham was his real name, and he died of a heart attack. Well, Anna, just at about the time Anna and I had our accident.
Oh. So what did you like best about him as teacher?
Well, he was just sort of a role model, a mentor. I guess I was one of his favorite pupils, and he took a lot of time with me, gave me a lot of attention. Made me kind of look up to him. When we'd go out and dehorn cattle, he always let me do the first dehorning. And when we castrated calves, I get to castrate the first calf. And pigs. And even once we had a swine that had a hernia, and I got to sew up the hernia in the pig's abdomen. And yeah, he always let me kind of be the leader of my class too. I was the president of the Future Farmers of America. He kind of, he saw a lot of potential in me, I guess.
He was from Trenton?
He was a teacher at school.
At the high school?
Yeah.
At the high school level?
Yeah, at the high school. Oh, as an adult?
Mm-hmm.
When do you become an adult? I don't know. In high school, it was Miss Dorfel Robinson and Mr. Roy, and of course my mother.
And Roy was her father?
Of Miss Dorfel.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost a minister. He never, I guess, well, he was at the church most of the time, but his father didn't want him to be a minister, so he never became a minister. As with father's one request.
Don't do it.
Don't be a minister.
How did you know that?
Well, I guess he made it clear that that's why he wasn't a preacher.
Hmm.
You knew Mr. Roy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was a fine example of a Christian man.
Mm-hmm.
And his favorite passage of Scripture was Proverbs 3:6, 3rd chapter, 6th verse. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths. A lot of chores. Gathering the eggs, feeding the cattle, feeding the hogs, working in the fields, driving a tractor.
Is that all?
What?
Is that all?
Just about. I never did much housework, but my mother did most of that herself.
Right.
Well, Dad helped her, but let's see. And what are some of the other chores? Well, gathering vegetables from the garden.
Mm-hmm.
working weeding the garden and weeding the cornfield and the cotton fields. Draper Coffin.
What was his name?
Draper Coffin.
That was his real name?
Yes, Draper, Draper Coffin, who was later became superintendent of the Naval Academy.
Kaufman.
Kauffman. He's the reason I stayed in the Navy, probably.
Uh-huh. These other guys were just coworkers.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim and Bob Kirtland were coworkers. Yeah, we did a lot of crazy things, wild things together.
Ah.
When we went ashore from the ship, the Helena. Concentrate and persistence and find something that you really like to do. And even if you don't like it, do the best you can. It'll pay off in the end until you find something that you really do like to do. Give it your best shot, whatever it is. Well, my earliest travel experience is unforgettable. Traveled to New York City with my Aunt Alda, her husband, Uncle Artie. I'd never been out of the state of Texas except to Oklahoma.
That's the largest city you'd ever been in?
New York City, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spent the summer, 6 weeks, in Staten Island. And Uncle Artie, who was a native, took me all over the city.
So you sightseed. You were sightseeing.
Yes. Went to American Museum of Natural History. Went to see the Radio City Music Hall, the Rockettes. The movie there.
And you were how old?
12 years old.
12 years old.
And I rode the train back from New York City to Denison, Texas by myself.
First time you've been on a train?
Yep.
From
First train ride.
From New York to
Yeah.
Denison all by yourself?
Yeah, it took 3 days.
Why did you go by yourself on the way back?
Nobody to go with me. And Aunt and my grandma, they lived in my Aunt Alda lived in New York City, and Grandma was staying for much longer than I could stay. I had to come back to go to school.
Oh, so that was the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, they put me on the train in Grand Central Station.
Wow.
And
you were only 12?
Yeah. And the car that I was on was switched to the MKT in St. Louis, Missouri.
Were you afraid?
Not really. I just hated to leave my aunt.
Oh.
And
you were having such a good time.
Yeah. I'd never played with city boys before. I just knew the country. And they used to, there was a bar down at the end of the street. They said, you're Texan. Do you just go into a bar at your age? Oh, yeah.
You told them that?
Yeah, I told them. Oh, yeah, I go into bars in Texas.
You can do that in Texas.
And then so they got me to walk in the bar down there, and they kicked me out immediately.
They dared you, huh?
Yeah. Let's see you go in there. Oh, yeah. They were all Italian kids that lived on the street that she lived on. Good kids. We had a lot of fun. He's a no bullshit kind of guy. Future Farmers of America, my first group association.
Were you a Boy Scout?
Oh, yeah. Cub Scout. No, I never was a Boy Scout.
You were a Cub Scout before Future Farmers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cub Scout at 7 or 8 years old.
You're a Mason.
Yeah, Masonic Lodge. Learned a lot of things in Masonic Lodge. Enrolled agents, the National Association of Enrolled Agents. Hospice, yeah. Yes, I've been on a few committees in the Methodist Church. Mentoring program with the Methodist Church. Well, I'm being frugal and do not spend more than you can afford.
And how did you learn that lesson?
Probably from my parents. Yeah, they were frugal. They were Depression era parents, and my mother and dad never bought anything that they couldn't pay for in the year. In fact, they never owned any property, any real estate until just we were in high school. They rented.
Oh, they did? They rented that pink house?
The farm. Oh yeah, that belonged to Annalore Conley.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had 60 acres there.
So they just leased that?
Yeah, they rented it, a sharecrop.
Oh.
The farmer gives, depending on what the crop is, either 1/4 or 1/3 of it to the owner.
Oh, okay.
And everything else is the renter does, all the labor. Well, I've tried to exercise for sure. Stop smoking. From 2 packs a day to zero 35 years ago. Oh, I guess pecan pie is one of my favorites. And fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
And let's see. My mother has pot roast and coconut cream pie. Oh, there's quite a few things.
No.
I don't want to talk about them.
You don't want to talk about it. Okay.
Well, I had a fairly good career in the Navy, and a good second career as an enrolled agent, and helped rear 3 children who are good examples of good citizens. Staying married for 57 years.
That is a prize. That's a prize accomplishment. Okay.
57 and a half. 57 3/4.
57 3/4 marriage. Okay.
The 50s. And we rebuilt the American economy, and realized our dream. A lot of people in my generation, and making life better for our kids. Those were the values that my generation had. Losing the Vietnam War. I don't know. I hadn't given that much thought.
Should we start it out by saying, no bullshit kind of guy?
Yep.
December the 2nd, 1934. 9-0 today.
Well, yesterday, right?
Or yesterday. Yeah, okay. Playing basketball for my high school. I enjoyed that as captain of the team. And being the point guard, or we didn't have point guards at that time. We just had guards and forwards. And the tallest man on our team was 5'11", and he was a big guy and should have been a good basketball player. He was a good basketball player, but he didn't have any coaching. So I'm sorry that we didn't have a coach that knew anything about basketball.
So you guys didn't win a whole lot?
No, we won about 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some pretty good old country teams at that time. Getting command of my own ship, and the one that I took command of in Vietnam on February the 5th, I think it was, 1970. I had all of 1970 on the Mekong Delta, on the Mekong River, moving back and forth. Singapore, that was one I requested. I guess Subic Bay in the Philippines, and Yokosuka, Japan. I can't think of any place that I particularly wanted to go that never got to go. Discipline and being able to accomplish what goals I set for myself. Discipline kept me from going directly to them. And by being disciplined, I was able to get there. I don't know what else I learned in the Navy that I didn't have before, but strict discipline. Well, I certainly hope so, because I'm going to be subject to it. And if we aren't, I don't see how, because it's unbelievable the changes I've seen in my lifetime. My 90 years, actually only thinking about from college back in 1956 to now, the changes have been remarkable. Discipline. Really, with discipline, you can accomplish most anything. And you have to apply it to yourself. And that's a tough thing that we don't usually have. But I'll tell you, with discipline, you can do almost anything.
So discipline probably be one.
Yep. Yeah, loyalty is one thing that I value highly. Not easily found today. There's not much loyalty. And the other thing is family. My family. Those are the three things that are most important to me. To be a comfortable loser. Don't try to lay it on somebody else. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
All right.
But I'm sure there is, but I can't think of it at the moment.
All
and
right.
Thank you for interviewing me, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Marijuana scandals have hit U.S. Army, Air Force, and Marine units in Vietnam. Now it's happened to what was thought to be perhaps the last bastion of tight military control and discipline, a Navy ship. It's happened to this ship, the Benoit. The Navy Department and the ship's captain, Lieutenant Commander William Tilger, were especially upset by the marijuana smoking because while it was going on, the Benoit served not only as an admiral's flagship in Vietnam, but also as a vital military command post during U.S. operations in Cambodia. Before she left Vietnam waters for this base in the Philippines, Captain Tilger's surprise inspection uncovered about 2 pounds of marijuana on board. 16 Benoit crewmen were implicated, 8 are being dropped, discharged by the Navy, mostly under honorable conditions, including Seaman Apprentice Gary Dobbs. At the Na Bay Naval Base in Vietnam, Dobbs had this to say about what happened and why.
We were stationed upriver for 6 months, and we didn't get any liberty, any recreation. We got one movie every night, you know, and sometimes it was the same movie for, you know, a long time. And there was nothing to do. We weren't supporting anybody, really. We were just there. And you paint the deck one day, you know, and the next day go back and paint what you painted yesterday. And harassment, like I said, Mickey Mouse Navy. That was a living example of a Mickey Mouse Navy. You had to wear a uniform of the day, which was dungarees and pants, you know, where everybody else on the river was wearing shorts and no shirts at all.
I probably was more stringent than other units in the area on uniform regulations. However, I don't feel that I was unrealistic. I have a strong feeling about uniforms. I feel that they are an aid to good order and discipline. They foster an esprit de corps. And it separates an organized unit from a disorganized band of persons or a hippie cult. I personally would have been delighted to have my crew go on liberty as ships normally grant liberty. But due to the circumstances, under combat conditions, I was not able to do it.
Off Vietnam, the Benoit carried 180 crewmen and 13 officers. Some of the crew say a lot more than 16 men smoked marijuana aboard this ship, not only enlisted men.
About half the ship smoked marijuana, but only 16 of us turned ourselves in or were caught. There was officers aboard this ship smoking marijuana, and 90% of my crew on my last ship turned on to marijuana. That was including 2 officers, and the XO was one of them.
To the best of my knowledge, none of my officers smoked marijuana aboard the ship. However, there was a relatively large amount of marijuana turned up on board, and it was not entirely beyond the realm of possibility. However, I never suspected or had any reason to believe that they smoked marijuana on board. The investigation revealed that only 16 men were implicated and had used it on board, or that were on board at the time had used it. I do not believe that there was anything like that magnitude of marijuana smoking going on board. I believe that I would have known it if it had.
So what happened to the Benoit? And it's not the only one. ABC News has learned that at least one other Navy ship on Vietnam duty, the USS Seder, recently was hit by a similar marijuana scandal. This is Howard Tuckner, ABC News, USS Benoit, Subic Bay.
ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. I don't care how much money I gotta spend. Got to get back to my baby again. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. When she wrote me a letter, said she couldn't live without me no more. Listen, mister, can't you see I got to get back to my baby once more. Anyway, yeah, give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. When she wrote me a letter, said she couldn't live without me no more. Listen, mister, can't you see I got to get back to my baby once more. Anyway, yeah, give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. My baby just wrote me a letter.
Must be some kind of way out of here. Say the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessman there to drink my wine. Plowman dig my earth. None will level on the mine. Nobody of it is worth. Hey. No reason to get excited. The thief be kind of slow. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us start talking falsely now. The hour's getting late. Hey!
If you could sum up your mother and father, just each individually, what would you say were their best? What are some things you would say first about your mother? What kind of woman
Most
was she?
supportive person and loving person that you'd ever want to meet.
But more than that, I mean, what Kimmy? I mean, was she?
What do you want me? What do you want
Well,
to say? About?
I always say that Grandmama, she didn't just talk the talk; she walked the walk.
Yeah. She was
Never
prime
had
example.
Never had an unkind thing.
I had a. When I talk about my childhood, I couldn't have asked for a better. They're just loving parents, and I hope you've been.
Yeah, now it's starting to flash a green light.
Okay, stop it.
Oh, miles and miles of Texas. Yeah. I was born in Louisiana, down on the old bayou, raised on shrimp and catfish and Mammy's good gumbo. I got that rambling fever, said goodbye to Ma and Pa, crossed that old Red River, and this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the skies. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. Oh, Danny and Bill. I rode up into Cowtown, the cradle of the West. Just ask any cowboy, he'll tell you it's the best. I met a Texas beauty, got friendly with her pa. I looked into her big blue eyes, and this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the sky. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. Oh, lucky now. I started taming broncos, made every rodeo, until I met a rough one, his name was Devil Joe. I grabbed hold of his bridle to ride this old outlaw. He threw me from the saddle, and this is what I saw. I saw miles and miles of Texas, all the stars up in the sky. I saw miles and miles of Texas, gonna live there till I die. Oh, fiddles now.
Well, my time went so quickly, I went lickety-splitly out to my old 55. As I pulled away slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive. And now the sun's coming up, I'm riding with Lady Luck. Freeway cars and trucks, stars beginning to fade, and I lead the parade, just a wishing I'd stayed a little longer. Lord, don't you know the feeling's getting stronger? 6 in the morning gave me no warning. I had to be on my way. Now the cars are all passing me, the trucks are all flashing me. I'm headed home from your place. And now the sun's coming up, I'm riding with Lady Luck. I went lickety-splitly out to my old 55. As I pulled away slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive. And now the sun's coming up, yes it is. I'm riding with Lady Luck. Freeway cars and trucks. Freeway cars and trucks. like you were. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of two. Love lost, such a cost. Give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling home to you. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. One look in my eyes and you can tell that's true. Lullabies, look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me, to mean that much to you. I've been first and last, look at how the time goes past. But I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. One look in my eyes and you can tell that's true. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew, But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my Yes, it was my